Okay. Now this is Muhammad special. Prophet Muhammad special. So where does all of this come from? Because a lot of people have been telling me, Harris, we come to you for a daily Islamic dosage. And I'm like, okay, I should give you. Well, those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of my audience, obviously, they're quite educated on the subject of Islam and they're trustees of Muhammad and Islamic invasions over the centuries. And some of these stories as well, some are funny, some are weird, some are sad, some are brutal. But there's this one story. It's quite interesting because mainstream Muslims don't know about it. Well, now they're finding out about it because it's very hard to hide these informations. Those of you who don't know, Ayesha, who allegedly some people say was only 9 years old, some people say, that she was 19, whatever the truth might be. She was accused of adultery. She was accused of having sex with someone. And Prophet Muhammad was very disturbed over a number of days. He was going and asking people. So there's some little other details. So you might have heard of this story, but there's some other details in that story that it often gets overlooked. So have a look at this. So let's go through the story. It's about 3 pages. I think it's very interesting. I hope you enjoy it. I hope my storytelling game is on point today. Prophet Muhammad used to when the apostle intended to go on expedition, he cast lots between his wives, which of them should accompany him. He did this on the occasion of the raid on Banu al-Mustalik, and the lot fell on me. So this is Ayesha. So it was Ayesha's sin. So Prophet Muhammad used to take his wives with him. I know the Romans used to do that too, and they used to have a separate camp for, and they used to take the slave girls with them. So they would never be sitting in the encampment. There would be a followers' camp or something they used to call it, and they would have their women slaves and slave women, etc. there. But Prophet Muhammad used to take his wives, because you could need a wife at any moment. Like you've just killed 10 people, now you gotta get it out somewhere else, so you gotta have your wife with you. So Prophet Muhammad used to take his wives with him, but on this occasion, and he had a vast array of women to choose from. He said, "Okay, this time, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, okay, Ayesha, I'll take you. Come with me, honey." So Ayesha is telling us the story that this time on this raid, she had to go with him. But anyway, so she was sitting on a Howda, apparently is a saddle, it's a big saddle that they put on elephants and camels where you can sit comfortably on it. So anyway, so she sat on it. People put put Howda on top of a camel and they went away. So at some point, she, just before, when they were near Medina, she felt the need to go to the toilet. So she said, "Okay, I'll be back." She went away. They took her off, including the Howda. And she went away, did her business, came back, and realized, oh, hang on, my locket is missing with beads. So she went back, but because men were not allowed to look, they just thought that she's in it for some reason. When she got off the Howda again, she got inside the Howda and then she realized, oh, I've lost it. So she quickly snuck out. Because as we know, this actually kind of proves that she must have been very little. Some people say, oh, she wasn't little, she wasn't 9. So a 9-year-old girl would weigh what, 30 kilos? And for 3 guys, they wouldn't even notice that there's something in there. So anyway, so this is Ayesha's word. She says that she thought that, so she got out, went back, and she found the locket. But in the meantime, those guys had picked up the Howda, put it on camel, and they went away. Because she was so light, they didn't notice that she's not in it. So she was like, okay, what do I do now? She didn't move. Good girl, smart girl. She didn't move. She said, well, I thought that someone will come looking for me. So she waited there, and then this guy, Safwan bin al-Muattal al-Sulami passed me. Not Sulami. Actually, could be Salami. Okay, so he had seen Ayesha from before the Parda days, before the Parda verse had come. So he had seen her, so he goes, oh, the wife of the apostle. And Ayesha said she didn't say anything. She made sure that, nobody looks at her. He said, sit on the camel, and then he walked alongside. and he took her back to Medina. When she came back, the rumors had already started spreading, but Ayesha says that she felt very ill, so she didn't realize. The story reached the apostle and my parents, yet they told me nothing of it. Though I missed the apostle's accustomed kindness to me. When I was ill, he used to show compassion and kindness to me, but in this illness, he did not, and I missed the intentions. So, rumors were circulating that she probably had sex with someone, and Prophet Muhammad was absorbing all of this. He had told Abu Bakr and his wife, but nobody has said anything to Ayesha. But Ayesha was already very ill. She was sick. So therefore she probably didn't pay any attention. But she noticed, oh, hang on, Prophet Muhammad is not giving me dolls to play with. So anyway, so Ayesha is obviously she is concerned. So when he came to see me, when my mother was nursing me, all he said was, "How is she?" So that I was pained, and I asked him to let me be taken to my mother so that she could nurse me. And then Prophet Muhammad said, "Do what you like." I must admit, like I would have thought that Prophet Muhammad would have given her a hell of a beating, but he actually showed a lot of restraint. Like we know even these days, some crazy men, "Oh, what? You talk to that guy? Boom!" Obviously not condoning it. This is horrible, but I'm saying people can do that even this day and age. But if someone as powerful as Prophet Muhammad, who had so many wives, he actually showed some restraint. So that's quite. I credit where it's due. I think he showed good restraint. Okay. So anyway, some 20 days later, she recovered. Now Ayesha could not stop crying when she found out that these rumors have spread like wildfire everywhere. Ayesha, when she recovered some 20 days later, she got angry. She couldn't stop crying. She even got upset with her mother. She said, "God forgive you, mother. Men have spoken ill of me, and you have known of it and have not told me anything." After praising God, he said, "What do sir?" And Prophet Muhammad also knew about this, and he was obviously quite disgruntled by this, and he was like, "Why do these men are talking about his family's internal matters?" So it must have been a very difficult time for him, because men view this as differently, because women are supposed to be a property. No one else is supposed to touch him. And that's why it becomes a matter of ego to them. Like, oh, if she's going around, then it means he's not a full man, because if he was a full man, she wouldn't be sniffing around. That's the general mentality that people have. But secure men don't care. But anyway, after praising God, he said, "Wow." Anyway, so the greatest offenders. Now, these were the three guys who were really bad, who were the spreaders. They were super spreaders. Abdullah bin Ubay among the Khazraj, and Mistah and Hamna the Jash. Now, Hamna the Jash was the brother of Zainab the Jash, who was one of Prophet Muhammad's many wives. Okay, so there was a little bit of a dispute in there that these guys were super spreaders. They belonged to this Khazraj tribe. They belonged to this other tribe. And they were saying, people who belong to the certain tribe, they always lie. They should be beheaded. They should be killed. And the other person saying, well, no, if you belong to that. So anyway, so that's irrelevant detail. So there was a lot of hoo-ha about it, and Prophet Muhammad wasn't sure what to do with this. So he actually went to Ali, his cousin and fourth caliph of Islam, and the most revered figure in Shia Islam. He went to him and he said, "Ali, what should I do?" This is a very important part. Ali said, "Women are plentiful. You're a prophet. Fair point. You're a successful man. Fair point. You can get any woman you want. Fair point. So let this woman go, because these rumors are putting you in a bad light, meaning that you're not a full man, and that's why your woman ran away and had sex with someone else." That's the general mentality. So Ali gave him a good advice from that time. He said, "It doesn't matter whether she did it or not. Just go get another girl." But Muhammad, obviously, he loved dear Ayesha. She was so young and beautiful to him. So Ali said, "Okay, Prophet, if you want to know what really happened, a slave girl who used to look after Ayesha, Ali gave her violent beating, saying, "Tell the truth, tell the apostle the truth." Have a look at this line. So the apostle called Buraya to ask, who was that slave girl, to ask her, and Ali got up and gave her a violent beating to tell her the truth. And the poor slave girl was crying. She's like, "No, she's always been good to me. I have never known her of doing anything wrong." So he was interrogating. This is like torture, and Ali got up and gave her a violent beating. So, and Muhammad just looked at it. It's like, yeah, get the information. Yeah, beat her up, slap. That is, a lot of people miss that information, because I was reading this story again, and I was like, oh, hang on, I missed that. Forget about Ayesha, this love scandal that's going on in the 7th century desert, keeping up with Kardashian story. Forget about that. But what's happening in there, that is the main part as well. So nobody cares about it. Like, it's just mentioned as a passing remark, and then they say, oh yes, Islam did have slavery, but we told them to eat what you eat, wear what you wear, beat them up the way you beat up your wives, maybe. So that actually kind of proves that. So that is one important part. But anyway, cut long story short, these people got away with this, and Muhammad wasn't happy. He wasn't satisfied. He went to the house. He interrogated Ayesha. Ayesha was crying. Ayesha was like saying, "No, if I tell you that I didn't do it, you wouldn't believe me. Oh God, please be my witness." And Prophet Muhammad kind of believed that story. And he eventually, while he was sitting, this is an interesting part. He goes, "If I deny what they said, you would not believe me." So, and by God, the apostle had not moved from where he was sitting when they came over him from God, what used to come over him, and he was wrapped in his garment, and a leather cushion was put under his head. As for me, when I saw this, I felt no fear or alarm, for I knew that I was innocent, and the God would not treat me unjustly. So anyway, so good news, Ayesha. God has sent down word about your innocence. How freaking convenient. Hey? Ayesha, how freaking convenient. How many women are accused of adultery? No God freaking messengers, these dreams come in. But for Ayesha, it came down. What is the lesson of the story? What is the moral of the story? That rely on God if vicious rumors are being circulated. Even Muhammad could not do anything. There were 3 witnesses, let's just say 3 witnesses were accusing her of adultery. Even he had to rely on God's revelation to find out the woman was innocent. Future generations don't have this luxury. What is the moral of this lesson? It's just bullshit, guys. It's obviously bullshit. Muhammad was just, he loved Ayesha, no doubt about that, and he didn't want her to be accused. And if he actually had said that she's committed adultery, that actually would have looked poorly. So I've heard actually a lot of men who get cheated on, they actually hide that fact because they view that as some sort of an insult to them, like the challenge to their manhood. So maybe that was the reason Muhammad didn't actually want to admit that. So anyway, whatever the reason might be, a revelation came, and a revelation told him that Ayesha was innocent. One of the guys, Hassan bin Thabit, who was one of the super spreaders, he said, "If I said what you alleged that I said, let not my hands perform their office." So he actually denied until the last moment. But anyway, so the verse came down after that those who accused chaste women of wrongdoing, meaning sex or adultery, then give them 80 lashes or something. So anyway, so those poor super spreaders, they ended up getting lashes because and then also a verse came down and said you have to have 4 witnesses, not 3, 4 witnesses, because these guys were 3 witnesses. And Muhammad said, wow, 3 is obviously not good enough. 4 witnesses. Anyway, so that's just the context of the story. But as I said, the key part is to interrogate information. Ali beat up a slave woman. Violent beating. It actually says violent beating. He would have, he would have thrown her around like a rag doll. That's Ali, Umar. These 2 were the biggest thugs. They were very violent people. Abu Bakr was violent, not physically himself, but as a general he was. And Usman was just corrupt. And Muhammad just used to sit back and watch the show. I saw beneath the veil, documentary, which was probably a propaganda documentary just before United States invaded Afghanistan. And they, in the soccer field, there were two women. Taliban said, sit down, put a gun to her head, at the back of her head, and pull the trigger, brain splashed at front. There's a video of that. I was like, wow, that was the first murder I had ever seen. Execution style, as they like to call it. And I was like, whoa, this is back in 2001, I'd say, yeah, Beneath the Veil, a CNN documentary. What was her charge? Adultery. Did God come down to give testimony that whether she was innocent or not? No. Some four men would have accused of it, and then that's it, gone. To help me produce more videos like these, support me on Patreon or PayPal.